Well, good evening, everyone. It's 7:22, and here we are again on our weekly program, the Rumble Mumble, as we do the countdown to the 22nd Annual Rumble in Fort Wayne, coming in just 3 short weeks at the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum and Expo Center in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and we're really looking forward to that. This is our weekly show. We're in our 11th edition already, and when Kyle of Grit Motorsports here, Kyle Dager, and I started this project, we just looked at each other and said, how are we going to get enough drivers to really make this show work?
Exactly. It's crazy. It's really exploded beyond our wildest, imaginations. We have 3 weeks left, like you said, and there's literally way more drivers asking to be on the show than we just have weeks left. So I'm getting pretty excited for next year. Maybe we can start hitting some of those drivers for them.
Yeah, really take some of the ideas and things from this year and try to get those people on. Well, over the course of the last 11 weeks, we've covered just about every angle of the Rumble in Fort Wayne. We have the midgets, we have the winged and non-winged 600 midgets, we have the go-karts, and then we have the quarter midgets. With the kids being in school and everything, it's kind of hard to get some of the quarter midgets on the show. So we're really excited and honored to be here tonight in Angola, Indiana, bringing on with us Zeb Wise, who came leaps and bounds out of the quarter midget racing.
Quarter midgets was always a big thing. Obviously, I did it for multiple years. I think it was 7 years total. I did it from age of 5 all the way to age of 12. So I had a lot of experience, and obviously the Rumble was always one that I look forward to. It was only 40 minutes from my house, and I love being there, and we had a lot of success there.
And I actually compiled some stats here on you, and I almost didn't believe them when I got them. You have over 150 A-main wins, 7 championships. You twice won the Brickyard event for the quarter midgets, as well the VC 39. So that's pretty cool. So I guess the question I have is, with the quarter midgets, how is that different? Racing your clubs around, in the summer. How is that different than running inside at the Rumble?
We ran more with like on the USAC. We ran some of the USAC tour. I don't think we really ever committed to the full USAC deal with quarter midgets, but running with clubs, you race against a lot of the same guys all the time, and it seemed like whenever we went to the Rumble, it was different people that we got to race against. I'm not really sure why. It seemed like a lot of the good guys went there, and it made a lot of competition for us. So the Rumble was tough. I don't know why the racetrack seemed different for quarter midgets, but you had to know what you were doing and lines and all that kind of stuff. Staying out of the rubber in certain spots, and that was always different for any quarter midget guy. So I think that's where you see a lot of the good guys rise to the top.
One of the sayings that we've heard over the last couple of shows is that to be the best, you have to race against the best. And I think you touched on that when it brings so many different people in. But one thing I noticed, it seemed like one of the phenoms or idiosyncrasies of quarter midget racing was leaning out to the left. And at the Rumble, I don't think you can really do that as much.
Yeah, it's hard, because, you get the midgets and then, the go-karts and everything that go out there, they lay so much rubber down. You do everything you can to lean out the side of the car to try to keep the left side down from biking up on you. And I did everything I could to lean out as far as I could. And, sometimes you get in the grip and it literally forces your body over and there's nothing you can do. So more guys lean out to try to, keep their weight over there and keep the left side of the car down.
I never understood how, when you guys were leaning, I've only raced karts in there, so I never understood when you guys were leaning, how did you guys not smack your heads on the infield tires?
It's funny you say that, because I've gotten pretty close and I've been leaning out and whoa, that seemed rather close, but usually the car will hit the tire before you do, which obviously is never good, especially there because those tires are made more for, the big midgets and micros and not really for quarter midgets.
Yeah, they wouldn't move too easily for the quarter midgets. The track itself at the Rumble, would you say that's one of the larger courses that the quarter midgets run on?
Yeah, absolutely. That was definitely the biggest track, and that gives speed, and that speed combined with the Rumble or the biking, man, it kind of gave you a little adrenaline rush. And I always had like the midget guys come down and say, you're crazy for racing the quarter midget on that track as fast as we were going. So
yeah. The speeds are right up there with the midgets, actually.
Yeah, I don't think the lap times are much different from us to the micros and the midgets. So
one thing I've noticed for is this like more rubber on the track than what you normally have?
Yeah.
I guess the reason I say that is like you can tell the quarter midget teams that maybe come for the first year aren't quite familiar with it and everything. And like you said, they would get off that rubber and then it's like they panic because it goes like right towards the wall and they forget they have a brake.
Yeah.
And they just smack that safety ball.
Yeah, it's really weird how quarter midgets race in there because of, they lay down so much rubber, with the midgets and stuff that you almost don't want to be deep into the rubber. You almost want to be off of it a little bit. And that's what me and my dad always tried to do, was set the car up to be out of the rubber more than in it, because you can carry a little more speed. So I think that's kind of where we made progress a little bit more than any other people.
I think for the track officials, it just gets so frustrating early in the show with the quarter midgets because you have to be pushed to start the way the setup is and everything like that. And it's like spin out, spin out, spin out. So we're pushing them and then we get frustrated. And then I tell you, by feature time, everybody has their act together.
Yeah.
And the quarter midget racing is pretty darn good.
Yeah, once all the rubber lays down and you can kind of keep your right rear like right on the rubber, I think you see a lot more of the spin outs go away. Early in the night when it's just slick concrete, it is tough. And I think that kind of prepared me a little bit for dirt racing. You kind of got to chase the car up the track a little bit and create for a pretty cool experience.
A few weeks ago, Kyle Hamilton we had on the show, and he kind of contributed a lot of his success when he won the Little 500, and he really had a breakout year that year. He attributed a lot of that success to winning the Rumble. So can we go ahead and just assume that all your success so far has been because of the Rumble?
I definitely don't think it's hurt. A lot of drivers that I raced with on like the USAC tour and quarter midgets and that kind of stuff didn't go to the Rumble, and I think it showed. When we get to those bigger tracks in the quarter midget series, when you got to carry a lot of speed and stuff, I think it showed. The Rumble guys just seem to always be up front.
Well, I guess we need to try to dispel a rumor a little bit here. It seems like there was a misnomer out there that the Rumble was dangerous for quarter midgets.
I think that's a lot of the reason, some of those guys didn't go, was because of the danger. And you are going pretty fast for a quarter midget, but I think that's part of it. That's part of the experience. And learning how to run out of the rubber and in the rubber and past cars, it makes for, a cool race. And it does really put on a pretty good show.
I don't know if it's true or not, but I was talking to Larry Ebert from the Columbus Club, and he was saying that you can actually learn to draft, is that true?
I do agree with that. I think somewhere there's a video of Ross Rankin at the Rumble running a race there, and you can kind of see him when he gets behind a car, he starts chasing him down. I think, a little bit of a draft there. You're going so fast for how little those cars are, so I think that does come into play a little bit.
That's interesting.
So obviously you've made a pretty big name for yourself already, but what was it like, going in there when you were younger at the Rumble, racing in front of crowds like Tony Stewart, Mike Fedoracek, and the Kenyans?
It's pretty cool, and it's kind of funny because obviously I race midgets for Colossal Marshall Racing right now, and one of the main crew guy there, his name's Tyler Ransbottom, and he always races go-karts. And the first time I ever met him, he raced go-karts at the Rumble, and he came up to me and said, "Man, did I get tired of hearing your name over the intercom at the Rumble?" And it's kind of funny. I guess you don't realize how much people, like those that pay attention, Tony Stewart and those guys that pay attention to the quarter midget stuff. And I think you can kind of make a little name for yourself there.
I think that the people really are scouting because that's where they learn from these different situations on how you handle. So, like the Rumble, you are bringing yourself from like club racing or the little fifth or what are they? Not even a tenth of a mile.
Yeah, they're tiny.
They're like a 12th of a mile or something like that. So, I think they do watch you. And Tony said when we had him on the show that he likes pitting where he does right there at the end of the bleachers because he'll go out there and watch. And he's really excited about it. I think another thing that makes the Rumble so unique for the quarter midgets, and it makes it tough for the parents to understand sometimes, is that, and we were talking to your dad, Chad, here before he had to leave tonight, it's kind of a step into real racing because you run under the same format as the go-karts, as the midgets, as the 600s.
Yeah, it kind of creates, it makes you feel like you're one of those guys. And, when you see the midgets out there, obviously with Tony and those guys, you're always looking up to them. And now you guys got like people like Rico and those guys stepping into a midget. So I've always wanted to race a midget there, and I still want to in the future. My dad had a micro out there last year, and I think it's a cool experience, and I'd love to do it someday.
I think it would be exciting to have you out there. There's some really great talent out there, and kind of biased, but I think for indoor racing on concrete, that's probably some of the best. And we do try to experiment with the track. I know when I started in with Tony and Jack on it, they tried to keep the track so small, and it would be like 200 feet of runoff, and it was we're running the whole building, so let's use it.
Yeah.
So I keep trying to make the track a little bit longer, but then that equates to we're running the same track for the quarter midgets and the go-karts. So last year we tried experimenting with those god-awful big tires, trying to create two different tracks, a little bit smaller for the quarter midgets. And I do have to laugh. I know some of the parents were saying that the track was too big, so they said we need a smaller track. So we made a smaller track just around the inside. That lasted for one practice session. The parents said, no, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting dealing with the parents, because quarter midget is so family oriented, and that the parent, it's kind of like Little League, they want their kid to be the next superstar.
Yeah. It's family oriented, but at the same time, we're all super competitive. So, every parent wants to see their kid do well and whatever they're doing. So, especially, my dad was obviously big into the setup and everything. So, he wants to see a car go around there, good, because he's the one who set it up. So, I think you have a little bit of that too.
We were talking before the show. You were actually racing against, I think, Harrison Burton, and obviously you came out of quarter midgets. Why do you think so many successful drivers have come out of quarter midgets?
I don't know. I think it's just so competitive, and it's so hard right now. And I think it was even harder back when I ran. You get guys like Harrison Burton and me and Frankie Nervo and Tyler Reeser. Those guys racing sprint cars, and obviously Harrison's moved on pretty far. But I don't know, man. It's just tough, and that's your decision making and how quick you got to make decisions. I think that makes a big difference.
I kind of often wondered that question because, like I said, because of the unique driving style, how it equated. But I guess it is a real race car more so. I mean, I love my go-karts and everything, but I think the quarter midget really sets you up in a quote-unquote race car.
Yeah, you're fully suited up. You got helmets, gloves, all that. You see I don't mean anything bad against the go-kart guys, but some of them don't even put a race suit on. They have pants and just a button-up thing on the top. So I think it gives you that more of a real race car driver feel, and prepares you for the next step in the micros or whatever it may be.
Okay, let's talk. I'm going to ask you this question. So you're from just up the road or anything? But the first time you and your dad pull into the Rumble with a quarter midget, and you walk out there and see the size of that track.
Yeah, that was, you hear, oh, we're going to race micros we're going to race quarter midgets on the same track they race midgets. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
And, you walk out there and you see how big the track is. And, at that point I'm committed now, see what we can do. And it seemed like, ever since the drop of the first green flag, we've always had success there. And, watching, obviously, our family is very close with Bob and Derek Bishak. So we always had kind of a car in the midget stable as well, to be able to hang out with them. If it wasn't for Bob, I wouldn't even be in a race car today. So, it's pretty cool to be able to hang out with the midget side too.
Yeah, the Bishaks are really good, loyal supporters of the Rumble, and we always enjoy having them. I know Derek and I had a little bit of a disagreement on some of the calls last year, and it's tough when you're race directing because you have to make a call so quick, and you don't have the video replay like in NFL and stuff like that. So you just have to go with it, live with it, and go have a beer later when it's over, I guess. But we're here tonight. We're in Angola, Indiana, talking with Zeb Wise, kind of reminiscing his quarter midget days at the Rumble and how it was racing quarter midgets at the Rumble in Fort Wayne. It's coming up in 3 weeks, December 26th, with a practice session that's only for pit pass holders, not open to the public. And then a full program Friday and Saturday, December 27th and 28th. and have a couple deadlines coming up.
Yeah, so make sure you guys get your pre-entries in by next Friday, as well as the racers rate for the hotel ends this weekend, and that's the Ramada, the Holiday Inn, and the Hyatt Place.
And the Holiday Inn, like we talked last week, has already exceeded their room block, but they are extending it a little bit further. And advance tickets are on sale through Ticketmaster or the Coliseum box office. And you don't have to really we'd like to see them bought in advance, because it would make me feel good walking in knowing how many tickets were sold. But it's just like a race day. You come in and buy your ticket, and you can get a pit pass with general admission, and go down to the 5 different pit areas. You guys are like, the quarter midgets are like right behind the grandstand, so you've got the rumble all day long.
Yeah, people are always back there walking around, and it's cool because they go look at the midgets and see what that's all about, and they come down, they're like, well, this is basically the same thing, just really small. And
you put it in the dryer and shoot it.
Yeah. It's pretty cool atmosphere though, because like you said, there's multiple different pit areas. And I think that creates kind of a cool thing, instead of just sticking them all into one and, just throwing everybody everywhere. So when you go downstairs and you see all the go-kart pits, and that was one thing that I always did was, try to get to every pit area and walk around and look at all the cars and stuff. I think that's kind of a cool thing to do.
Well, it's really neat to see the quarter midget count this year look good, very strong. We're glad to see the counts coming back up. We've got almost a full field in every class, I think, except for one of them. And we've got people coming in from the Dakotas, from North Carolina, and all over. So I think the word is getting out, and a lot of our Columbus friends are coming over. So we want to give a big shout out before we get too far to Jason Deach, trailer sales from Edgerton, Ohio. I've been on the phone selling tickets for Eldora Speedway for the last 3 days and losing my voice here. But Jason's been a strong supporter of racing. This is his 3rd year of sponsorship, and really good to see him on board.
Yeah, as well as a lot of our other partners this year. If you can look in the back, I don't know if you guys can see, but Competition Suspension Inc., they're coming on board this year. Rage Carts, Bob Busher Homes, Leary Shock Technology, and there's more coming on here in the next couple of weeks as well.
That's awesome. All right, so Zeb, we talked a little bit about the quarter midgets, but whoa, how you've catapulted from there.
Yeah, I've come a long way. I raced quarter midgets from the age of 5 to 12, and then I made my first ever micro start when I was only 12 years old. So that was pretty humbling, going against, guys that have been doing it for a long time, and, 20, 30 years old. So, and then I raced micros from 12 to 14, and I made my first ever midget start at 14, and here we are now. And I've made a few outlaw starts in the sprint car, and, so we've come a long way.
And we have to remind everybody, you haven't even graduated from high school yet.
No, and, just it was actually this year in February, I got my license. So, I'd been racing cars my whole life, and it was kind of funny going in there to get my license. And I've been racing, since I was 5.
I have a little cute story is trying to set up a program here tonight, texting back and forth. I text Zeb. I said, I'm free. I'm off the phone right now. Can I give you a call? And I get this text back, no, bad time. And so he calls about an hour later and says, I was taking a test. So you're doing online schooling, which is a little bit different. So you can't really go to school and share your stories with your schoolmates.
No. So I started online schooling right at the start of high school. I wasn't going to be able to miss near as many days as I needed to. And, that kind of forced us to do something different. So we went with Connections Academy. And, that's just an online program. You can do it, whenever you want, whatever time you want. So that kind of, gave me a little freedom to travel. And, just the last few weeks I've been in California, and, I was sitting in the toter doing, work at the beach. So it's pretty cool to be able to do that and have a little bit more freedom with, schedule and stuff.
And I think I looked at your website, and pretty good grades.
90% of the time I'm an AB student, which is always something that was important to me and my family, good grades or you can't race. So that's something that my mom was more strict on than my father.
Has that ever came into effect?
Luckily, no. I don't know if I just jinxed myself, but no, that's never really been a problem.
So, Zeb, right now you're with a high-profile team, very high-profile team. Does that put any extra pressure on you?
I try to say no, but the first time I ever raced for him was, right after they just came out of the Chili Bowl with drivers, like Donnie Schatz, Jason Johnson, Tyler Courtney. So they had some pretty big names in their car, and here's this 14-year-old kid that's jumping in the midget for the first time to see what he can do. And, so I knew I was in a good car. Obviously Tim and Rizzy and all those guys know what they're doing on the setup side. So I just had to, go out there and race, just learn. And that was hard for me because when I ran midgets or when I ran micros, I was winning 20 races a season. And we go into midgets, and it took me forever to get my first win, and that's hard.
Yeah, but look at the wins you got.
Yeah. And now looking back on it, I'm glad we did what we did and made the choices we did.
It's such an iconic number.
I'm driving for Brian Clausen's dad, Tim, and Richard and Jennifer Marshall, and the unfortunate circumstance of Brian losing his life there, but. I'm in his car. His one thing was a development program, and that's one thing him and Tim were huge on. And I stepped into that role as Brian's last development driver pick, and I still run the 39, which is obviously the number he ran. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So what does the future hold for Zeb? Obviously, you're going to New Zealand.
I am. We leave to go there in a few weeks. So. But. My dream since I was 5 years old has always been run the War of Outlaws. So, I've taken that step here recently. I've got my first few outlaw starts, and we've had, pretty good success, qualifying up front at the World Finals in Charlotte. So that was a pretty big deal for me, a little bit of a confidence booster and knowing, I can race against these guys. So, but, the War of Outlaws is somewhere I've always wanted to go. And, if other opportunities came up, I'm sure I can't deny those. So,
I think there's a trend right now, like NASCAR and stuff. So many drivers came from like USAC and non-winged racing, which is awesome. But now I'm seeing a trend of more and more of the traditional non-winged drivers jumping over to the wing sprints.
Yeah. I think it's more, the pay is definitely in the wing stuff, unfortunately, because non-wing racing is huge. And, you see guys like Justin Grant, Tyler Courtney, Chris Wyndham, those guys are making a living in the non-wing stuff, which is impressive. You got to win races though. If you want to race non-wing for a living, you better win,
It's been tough for the non-wing, like USAC, as much as they would like to keep raising the purses. It's a tough economy right now, and trying to jump too quickly maybe they didn't keep, I'm editorializing a little bit, but maybe they didn't keep up as fast as they should have. But to try to jump right now, it would be disastrous for them. So we're winding down here. We're with Zeb Wise up here in Angola, Indiana. And we've covered pretty much the whole gamut of your racing career. We've talked about your future and everything. So let's just go back. Words of wisdom for anybody that's bringing a quarter midget for the first time to the Rumble.
My first thing would be don't get intimidated by the track. Even though it's big and fast, people usually race pretty smart there because they don't want to wreck just as much as you don't. So, hold your line. That's probably one of the toughest things there is, knowing where you want to be because of the rubber. That can put you in places where you don't really want to be. Straightaways are long, and you're going, you're carrying a lot of speed around there, so that's kind of one of the toughest things you
come up on the lap car quarter midgets pretty quickly. I noticed that.
Yeah, you can catch cars. The closing rate there is unbelievable. That's the closing rate in quarter midgets. There is almost like the closing rate of midgets and sprint cars. In the bigger stages.
And make sure you don't hold your head too far out. You might catch a tire.
Right. We don't want to do that. But anybody that's watching, if you're with the quarter midgets or a club and don't know too much about the Rumble, you can go to rumbleinfortwayne.com. All the entry information is on there. The handler rules, which are a little bit different from some of your clubs and everything. So check that out. And we look forward to seeing everybody coming to the Rumble in Fort Wayne. I guess, we don't want to make this just a promotion for the Rumble, but I looked at your stats, and you have a micro win at the Tulsa Shootout with 1,100 and some entries out there. So when you're going to convert that over to a midget win at the Chili Bowl?
We raced the Chili Bowl here. It seems like it's forever away, but it's really only a month. And, so we're getting prepared for that. And, last year was my first year at the Chili Bowl. And, I was only, I think, 2 spots out of a transfer into the big show. So most people don't even make it to the B their first time there. So I was complaining about it, at the first time, but I can't really complain about that. We're going back this year to win, though.
Mind you, folks, there's 360 midgets there, and he's 2 spots away from making the top 24.
Yeah, I was so disappointed at first, but really when you look at the big picture of things, we had a lot of speed and we were so close. We got in an accident at the beginning of the B, and that put us, at the back. So I think I had to restart like 20th or something. We got all the way back to, I think it was 8th, and we were 2 spots out. So it's just tough. It's such a tough event that, when you go there, there's 50 cars that have a chance of winning that thing. And that's what makes it so tough.
And it's so interesting. Luckily, having Tony Stewart as my employer makes it nice for me to get one of the better seats. And Tim sits right beside me, and sitting there, he's like driving the car with you and stuff like that. But he just never seems to get upset. I mean, he gets worried and concerned, but it's just takes a deep breath.
I've watched him when I'm watching, we'll go up and watch my other teammates, Tyler and Chris and them, and watching them out on the track and I really watched Tim more than I watched those guys. And, he gets all nervous, but never really, gets too upset. And it's kind of cool to see that emotion when we're out there racing.
So I think you're going to be in New Zealand this year. You still, I think, could fit in a quarter midget. I think it'd be awesome to put you back out there one time next year if you get there, even if you aren't racing.
Right.
Just get out there and bring back some old memories of quarter midget racing at the Rumble in Fort Wayne. Kyle, any closing remarks here? We need to sign off. We've kind of exceeded our 22 minutes, but our guests are so. I think we could make this a 2-hour show every week. It's so exciting as we try to introduce to you folks. Not so much, like I said, we're not a promotion. We're here to learn and meet our drivers.
Yeah, it's been really cool meeting, everyone from former quarter midget drivers, the team owners, the midget racers, the go-karts. It's been really cool. There's a lot of storylines leading up to this year, and I can't wait to watch. There is one question I do want to answer. Tony Barhorst, it's been really cool seeing him kind of tune in every week and comment.
Well, I mean, as the founder of the Rumble, I mean, he's kind of like a proud papa.
Yeah. He asked if we were going to have a show Thursday on practice day in 3 weeks, and that is a yes. So we will have a show that week.
Oh, I thought you meant a race.
No.
You made me nervous.
No.
Yeah. Oh no, we're actually we're gonna be there 2 weeks in a row, Tony. 2 weeks from tonight, we actually build the track. Now, you have to understand, this is a temporary oval inside of a coliseum where they sell purses and have dog shows and everything else. We turn it into a racetrack, and it's quite a job. We're going to try to maybe do a time-lapse camera and show it and everything. But 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to be doing the show from the Coliseum. And, oh, Lord, we'll probably bring Mike Fedorczyk back in. That's always exciting. But so we'll be there, and then practice night. Kyle, you're on your own that night because I'll be out hitting people over the head with the flags and stuff. So
I think we need to start, like the Chili Bowl has the flip count. We need to put a camera on you the whole weekend and just get a flag hitting the helmet count all weekend.
Yeah, something I can't do to the quarter midgets.
No, we're over here.
Yeah. So Zeb, we thank you for coming on. We wish you really good luck as you cross the waters over to New Zealand. We'll be out to the Chili Bowl to watch you there, and hope that we see you come back from the quarter midgets into the midgets.
Thanks for having me. This is a pretty cool little show you guys got, and hopefully I wish you the best of luck at the Rumble, and hopefully puts on a pretty good show, and hopefully I can get in the midget someday there.
All right. So Kyle, we'll sign off, and we'll see everybody.
Yeah, December 27th and 28th. Make sure you guys get your entries in and your hotels booked if you haven't already, and we will see you next week at 7:22.